Hey everyone, I am here this week with Amy Barickman, and we have some really fun projects using her Treasured Threadz panels. Like I said, I am here with Amy Barickman. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'm sure you guys remember her. We have her here often. She's a great friend of us here at Missouri Star, and she is just a wealth of knowledge, especially when it comes to vintage and upcycling and all those good things. And so I just wanted to invite her. She's got a great new product called Treasured Threadz panels, and they look like this.
Yes, very exciting.
They're very exciting, and you can make so many wonderful things with this, and she has a great technique on how to use them and apply them to your clothing or your projects. And so we're going to get into that. But Amy, let's talk a little bit about where the inspiration came for these.
Well, Misty, you know I love vintage.
Yes.
And I collect textiles, notions, fabrics,
Her
quilts.
collection is amazing, I must say. I have been to her studio,
Yes.
and it is just incredible.
Well, I loved having you,
Yes.
and I love to share my collection.
Yeah.
And so this is a really special way that I can share it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I always collected vintage as inspiration for my patterns when I owned Indigo Junction.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my book, Vintage Notions.
Yes, right here. It's a great one if you guys don't have it. I have it both here in my studio and at home. It's just so many wonderful things in here.
Well, they're on those pages. There are fabrics from my collection, feed sacks, embroidery.
Yeah.
And with that collection, I love apparel, fashion, expressing yourself and your personality through what you wear.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm wearing is one of the Treasured Threadz panels.
Yes.
And it's the Missouri Star, and you're wearing
Yes.
the postage stamp retro.
So cute.
So, you know, the inspiration came from my collection, and I actually brought a few of the quilt blocks
Let's look at those.
that were the authentic pieces that we scanned, and we're able now with digital printing to reproduce all these beautiful colors.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you don't, you know, I have a hard time cutting into
Those
vintage
antique-
fabrics and
yes.
antiques. Now, sometimes, you know, when it's really damaged, no problem.
Right.
But this was a way that I could, you know, be able to introduce these vintage textiles into a modern application.
Absolutely, and I just want to point this out. These are all these little pieced squares. It looks like printed fabric at first glance, but these are all pieced.
Oh, and
It's just,
yes,
it's so hand-pieced, just beautiful. And so I agree with you. You don't really want to cut this up, but you also want to honor it. And so this is a great way
Right.
that you've come up with here.
And we've done what the beauty of these panels is there's pieces that are coordinated to work together.
Yeah.
So with one panel you can make, you know, you can embellish jeans, you could embellish a jean jacket, you could make pouches, purses,
Absolutely.
patches.
Yeah, let's open one of these up so they can really see what we're talking about here.
Yes.
Because I think this is just so fun. Look at all these little,
I know.
little
the
postage.
tiny.
It's just so darling. Like,
Well, I love to look at the little prints too.
Yes.
It's just really entertaining to think about the stories even behind these fabrics.
It's like I Spy for us,
Yes.
us grown-up fabric lovers. So,
Yes.
so fun. All right, so then, like you said, these are digitally printed. And so let's take a look at a couple of these.
Yes, and this is
beautiful
the
blue-
Missouri Star Blue.
I love it.
And you can see where we have different sizes of scale
Yeah.
that work well together. Even like, I love this flower,
Yeah.
and we've come back and embellished that with embroidery in one of the samples I'll show you. Then you have little smaller patches
Yes.
that could be used, you know, just in a variety of ways on a jean pocket, or, you know, I've done actually even put like a little tag inside a t-shirt.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Using these. So this is these, and that you'll see the seam allowances between these. This gives you a chance to be able to cut a border and then use these pieces right up to the edge of the fabric and the design.
Well, and I love so
So-
much that you've taken the time to put this together, because for me, I love the idea of upcycling my clothes and adding things to my denim jacket, but when I'm just looking at my stash, I get a little bit overwhelmed picking which fabrics to put together. And these are all so beautifully coordinated.
So this is a great way to repurpose and reintroduce vintage treasures.
So there's that beautiful blue one. And then also this, so colorful and happy. If you want to open that one up and show everyone.
Well, and Misty, you picked these two originally. I shared this with you probably a year ago.
Yeah, it's
when
been
I
in
just
the works
started
for a while.
developing it.
Yeah.
So here you can see where we actually also sometimes add a panel of a print that will coordinate well back with the actual patchwork. So this is an example where on a project we'll use this as a lining or a backing, and then the beauty of this little postage stamp is we have two different scales, and then we even enlarge some of the tinies.
So that you have those larger patches to work with. It's just so cute. I love it. And you said you got these from Vintage Feed Sacks, yes?
Yeah. And feed sacks are one of the fabrics that's featured in my Vintage Notion book on a lot of the pages. I have a really nice collection of feed sacks, and so it was fun to mix and match and put this all together.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's dive into how to use these and how to apply them to our clothing.
What I'm wearing. How about that?
Absolutely.
Developing a technique to actually be able to use these and apply them to jeans without, the beauty is you can take a ready-made garment and then you can add to it.
Yes.
And the technique, which I have on my jean jacket here, you'll see that it's actually quilted.
Yes.
So what the process is, I'll show you kind of a big example first of one that we have gone in and quilted. So this is actually going to eventually be a crossbody bag.
Oh, awesome.
And I'll flip it over so you can see the stitching.
And so you have this, is this fusible fleece?
It is a fusible fleece.
Okay.
And we have the fusible on the outside here.
Oh, okay.
So then
not against the panel.
No.
Okay.
The fusible, because what you're able to do is let me show you this little one. This is a really good, this shows you stitching. That was some stitching we did. But this shows you the technique where you use that seam allowance and you're folding it back onto that fusible side of your batting and then pressing it. And then when you do want to apply this, say as you see on my jean jacket here, you'll see these little on the placket, in between the buttonhole, we added various patches like this.
I love that.
And so with the fusible, you'll be able to fuse it. Of course, you're going to want to sew it too.
But it will just kind of hold it in place, and then you don't have to work so hard.
Right.
That's great.
And so this was, these can just be, patches can be wrapped along the placket. And then when we're doing maybe you're doing the yoke, the back yoke.
Yeah.
You can, again, cut a pattern, and we'll show how to do that here in a second, and then apply the patch to it.
So can we walk them through exactly how to do
this?
Method?
Sure.
Yeah,
let's go over here to our pressing.
Okay.
Our nice wool pressing mat.
Okay.
So what I have here, Misty, is I've added about a little over 1/4 inch. I first, though, cut batting, that fusible batting. I love using my rotary cutter and the ruler to be able to do that. And then the fun part of this is really the embroidery and that slow stitching. And so here you can see where we've added a couple different types of thread. But then for the pressing, again, what you'll do is you'll just wrap that allowance over. And I love the little Aliso mini because it gets so hot.
Yes.
And that's what you need to work your way and have a small tip that you can see.
Yes.
And so for instance, like in a corner, I'll actually miter it here just with the iron and then be able to then turn, flip, and just press right along there to
get that nice crisp corner.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope I'm probably should be showing it this way for everybody to see.
No,
But
that's
again,
great.
you can, yeah, get the nice corners. And really, there are no rules with this.
Yeah.
This is the method I like with the batting. You know, actually, my mom helped me with a lot of these samples.
Your mom's amazing.
She is, and she actually first did the pressing
Okay.
and then did the embroidery.
Okay.
But we did come to decide that really it's best to do
the stitching first.
the stitching first, because then you can hide some of your just hide some of your threads and keep it. But you can see just how simple this is to do.
Well, and I love this because then it gives that quilted texture instead of just having a thin layer of fabric that you're applying to your jacket or your shirt
Right.
or your bag, whatever you're embellishing. It really, I just look at this, Amy, and this is amazing to me because it's, this is digitally printed, but when you add that stitching to it, it
Right.
looks like you have cut up a vintage quilt and you haven't.
It's true, and I do think just that batting that adds the dimension does give it a really, really, really nice look.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, because we have it here, is on this particular jean
Yeah.
jacket that I have right here, this one we actually did the reverse and we fused the batting, but you can see you don't see as much of
Right.
the dimension
you don't
on
get
that.
as much loft.
Right, exactly. So that gives you just another possibility. And I'm gonna, is it okay if I flip this around?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this also, just to show you how, again, you can work within those dimensions of your jacket or your ready-made garment. And here you can see what I was talking about where we embroidered the flower, and I think
Yeah.
that's really a nice, and this is actually two of the
The panels put
patches,
together.
yeah, two of the blocks that are in that
I love it.
particular panel.
Well, and I just wanted everyone to see that this really is like a time for creative play, being able to use these patches. And I think all of us, as we're, making quilts or whatever project we are in the middle of, sometimes you get kind of bogged down. Jenny says you lose your sojo, right? And so it's nice to have something like this to kind of re-inspire you and to be able to play. And I love that. I absolutely love it.
Well, the play is my favorite part of it, and that lends itself to the hand stitching.
Yeah.
So I'd love to show you a few of the different ways we've
Please.
added the stitching
That would be great.
to the blocks and the patches.
Yes.
So and play is that's a great way to describe it.
Right? Because that's what it is. That's what we're doing.
Right. You can pick and choose what you want to stitch and where. And you can see in these two patches where I just decided I was going to do a running stitch
Yeah.
and then follow the gingham. And it just adds a little touch. And this was embroidery floss.
Okay.
You can also use like a 12-weight thread.
Sure.
This is 12-weight thread actually that I have, or actually this is pearl cotton. So
Yeah.
you have embroidery floss, pearl cotton, and you can see right here, this is actually, sometimes there's elements in these fabrics that you can accent. Like for instance, this is just a leaf. So I was like, well, I could go ahead and, stitch the veins of the leaf with a stem
And
stitch.
give it some texture.
Yeah, so that is what's fun about this. You can play, you can
Do you
stitch
ever
as much
put this? Oh yeah, sorry. I
no,
didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh, just as much or as little as you want is
Yeah.
what you can do with these.
Absolutely. I just wanted to ask, do you ever put these in like an embroidery hoop, or do you just hold it all by hand?
I hold it all by hand.
Okay, that's awesome.
Because you have that batting behind, it gives you a little more stability with your stitching.
Okay.
So that's kind of the beauty of it too. It's Misty, I love to also take this stitching on the airplane or when I travel
absolutely.
in the car because it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
And so it's really just your own creative design as to how much or as much or little as you stitch. And I wanted to show you this because this was the red.
Yes.
And I actually recently went to an estate sale and found this wonderful quilt that had wool and a lot of menswear
Yes.
in it, and it had red stitching in kind of a window pane.
I love that.
Big stitch, you know, the big stitch that's so popular. And so that I went home and I was like, okay, I think this is it. We're going to use red, and we're gonna
good.
you know, we're gonna go ahead and sometimes I used a double of my embroidery floss, and sometimes I use a single, and it just gives you a different look. So you can see here, you know,
this is just a running
just
stitch.
the running stitch. So before we were doing the stem stitch.
Right.
Now you can have fun, but these are the simplest stitches to learn and to do. And that's, I guess, where I find it so therapeutic, is just because it's very relaxing. There's not a lot of stress of like, am I going to, you know, stitch the wrong, you know, thread count or and you know, too, if you did want to go beyond and do more, say add a lazy daisy, or there's some of the florals that are within the patchwork where we've added more detail.
Sure.
And I wanted to remind you that my Vintage Notions book.
I was just gonna say, she has an amazing stitch guide at the back of the book. Let me see if I can find it here. But like, it is just filled with all kinds of wonderful stitches. There's your
the lazy daisy.
Exactly. So if you don't have this book, it is a wealth of knowledge for so many things, and it just ties together with these panels perfectly.
So yes.
Yeah, so there's a glossary of stitches in the back. I love it.
Yeah, so you know, this is a great way to, you know, just push yourself a little creatively with your hand embroidery.
Absolutely.
And I just have a blast with it, so it's fun to share it and have the opportunity to showcase. Now, another way that you can use the panel too is you can just add a fusible, you know, to the back and then peel it off and
just
iron on.
And
then
stitch around the edges.
Right, and I've even embroidered before and then embroidered through the fusible. You want to use like a light sewable.
Sure.
If you're going to do that, but that gives you a little method.
Yeah, and so there's really ways for, you know, whatever level you're comfortable with to do this, because you don't even have to add the stitching if you don't want. It's just such a beautiful technique, and so I think it's really nice. It looks like you've added all this fun detail through the denim, but you haven't had to do that because of this method, which I love. And so let's talk. There's actually some great projects that you get.
Yes.
So when you purchase these panels, which are available from us here at Missouri Star, and you'll open it up, there's this great little QR code inside, and that's going to bring you to 3 patterns, right?
Correct.
That come with this, and also you said there's more video education as well, right?
Right. So there's patterns, 3 patterns, a lookbook, and video tutorials teaching you about how to apply to your denim and ideas.
So it'll take you even deeper than what we've covered today on all of those things.
Right.
That's great.
Right. So I brought these just to show you like what an example of a pattern would look like. So you can view it digitally or you can print it. They're printable PDFs. But
perfect.
You know, you'll get diagrams, you'll get lots of nice visuals to help you through making the projects. So there's a crossbody bag, an eyeglass case, and a zipper pouch.
Cute little zipper pouch with that stitching.
Yes, there it is. So it's finished, and we have so much fun recycling. That is what we love to do.
Absolutely.
This is actually a man's dress shirt that we use. Yes, yeah. So that's been that's a lot of fun. Or now again, you could also use one of those prints. This is one of the prints in the postage. Yeah. So there you can see how you could do the you know, the front with the quilting and the back with the print.
Absolutely.
Or the patchwork. So that's your zipper pouch. And then here we have the eyeglass case is the second pattern. And you can see it made in both the panels, both of those nice small little pieced versions. So, and there are 2 sizes of eyeglass case, a longer, shorter, and 2 styles, a rounded and a squared off corner in that pattern. And then I love the crossbody bag.
I know.
Because
so cute.
I think, you know, sometimes you want to wear more of and share more of your hobby, and this is a way where you don't have to wear necessarily a coat, or you can share your quilting on a smaller level. And so this is the crossbody bag, and you can see again where this flower could be embroidered. We just added this stitching.
Beautiful.
When it comes to denim with these, I'm going to show you this one too. We like to use, you can use any weight denim for the body of the bag.
Okay.
But when you're doing the binding and the handle,
a little lighter weight.
a little lighter weight,
Okay,
yes.
that's a
yes.
good tip.
Yep. And then again, a shirt lining, and we even use the pocket from the shirt as the pocket in the bag.
Oh, that's brilliant. You didn't even have to add that.
No.
I love this so much about you, Amy. You just see the world so creatively, and then you put all of these pieces together. It's just magical.
Well, and you know, I have great people helping me.
You
So
do.
Mary actually made this. We came up with the idea after we had the piece left over from that zipper pouch I showed you.
Yeah.
So like you could use this part and actually add a band.
The band around it.
But then we pieced 3 of those small patches together here. And then here you can see those
cute stitches.
Yes.
Isn't that just
simple,
so great? Yeah.
simple and fun.
That is so fun.
Well, and you know, when it comes to thread, I think the color, the choice, there's so many great threads out there and options. It's fun to experiment with.
Well, and coming back to this one, I love the variety. I mean, you've used orange and yellow and mixed it up, different shades of orange even, and I think just seeing this all together is so fun. And I don't know if I hadn't seen you do this, if I would have been brave enough to try that on my own, which is silly, right? It's fabric and thread. We know if we don't like it, we can pull those stitches out, but it's just nice to see.
Well, and sometimes you just need a little creative inspiration.
Absolutely.
And that's what the lookbook that you get with the panel, you scan that QR code or you go to the link.
Yeah.
And you'll have a lookbook of ideas to inspire you in different ways. And, you know, that's what I love about technology. We can do more. So it's almost like a pattern experience that you're going to get beyond just buying the panel.
Absolutely. Well, Amy, thank you so much. Let's finish this off with our own little lookbook. How about that?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, let's just share some of these other things you've done, and we can talk about all the ways you've used these amazing panels.
Well, you're so nice to have me and to share this. So I thought I'd start. You might remember my fold and go folio.
You did with Jenny.
Jenny, yep,
yes,
she
so
did
there's a tutorial with this.
Yes, there is. And so I love the idea of stitching with, I thought there was some black in here. So we ended up adding just some running stitches in black. This was a 12 weight thread, just doubled. Little cross stitches here, and then you can see on the back side, I just added a few quilting lines. You don't have to go overboard. Then I had to, of course, put my favorite vintage red button. But I wanted to show you inside because this is the perfect pattern to create with the panel, and then you can have all your sewing
to take with you when you're doing all those hand stitching projects.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You can have your little scissors, your thread, your thimble.
And so are all of these pockets made from the patches and the pieces?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So these were those bigger patches, and this time we just made a sleeve with the smaller print. You can see the larger postage stamp on the outside. But you do want to make sure if you're deconstructing denim, be sure this is a color coordinated seam ripper I put in. Seam ripper is a key tool for when you're
working on these projects.
If you're making things with the upcycled denim. So,
that's awesome.
So that was our little fold and go folio. And this pattern too has a QR code that takes you to videos and a lookbook.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun, and Missouri Star has a template.
Yes,
that is wonderful for this too,
with it,
especially if you're fussy cutting and want to get just the right portion of your fabric or your design.
Absolutely.
So we could also talk about Denim Redesign and some projects I did with that book.
Well, we might
you want
as well.
to?
Let's dive into it.
So this is Denim Redesign, Misty. This is a book that I published a while back.
Yes.
And it really goes deep into denim and how to upcycle and recycle. not only embellishing items, but also actually like just taking your jeans, tearing them apart, and reconstructing them into.
So kind of the next level with everything
Right.
we've been covering today.
Right.
Okay.
It has a whole section on actually how to deconstruct. You can see some pages, really nice illustrations.
Yeah.
So it's a really helpful guide to just how you could repurpose and recycle. And I think the value now today, so many people are wanting to, you know, environmentally,
Exactly.
you know,
They just wanna-
sustainable fashion is
Exactly.
such a important thing to think about. And I think if you can just go in your closet and redesign something that's already in your closet, that's
Well, and I was thinking about the earlier before we started filming today. You shared a denim jacket that's darling but has some stains on it, right?
Right.
And so this covers some of the ways to keep that jacket still usable, you know, great
Right.
fit,
Right.
and you can make it so you're willing to wear it again
Right.
because you can just cover up those stains or repurpose it in this way, you know,
Right.
like we see in this book here. And so I love the opportunity to think outside the box and to make our items in our closet last a bit longer.
And you do have those jackets and that clothing you love, and
Yeah.
you don't want to. You want to be able to continue to wear it.
Exactly.
So first of all, I'll start with this cute little purse. This is a bag made just with a pant leg from a jean, a pocket added, and then I did a second pocket with a little patch from the
From the
postage.
panels.
And added a fun button. So and this strap is actually just a waistband that we
Yeah.
then added the button on it.
I love it.
So, and then when you think about pockets and being able to, we've done a couple different pockets a couple different ways. We've actually taken the pocket off and used it as the pattern and the lining.
Awesome.
Just be careful, you'll have maybe some damaged areas to mend when you do that. This again is the Missouri Star panel, Treasured Threadz panel, where we pieced it back together. And I love just the Levi
To bring that
stitching
that
there.
classic stitching back.
Yes.
Yes.
And then too quick, on this version we went ahead and added a cuff.
Yeah.
And you will find in the Denim Redesign book specific instructions for adding the cuffs, for, you know, deconstructing the pocket and reconstructing. This is an example. Sometimes with a pocket, maybe you don't want to take the pocket actually off the jean. So here we have another Levi's. So you might make a pattern for the actual pocket.
Yeah.
And what I have here is, I just noticed that it's not a normal, it's a little odd shape.
I know,
So again, you wouldn't notice
You
that
wouldn't notice
until you
Yeah.
actually made and when one of the techniques for doing this, we actually you can use a pencil and your batting and kind of just trace around the edges of whether it be, you know, a
create that
yoke
pattern,
to
yeah.
create that pattern and then cut it out and go ahead. This has not been quilted yet, so this we might go back in and quilt. And then on the front, I just to show you, you know, you could add
Some
again,
patches.
yes. And there you can see the stitching where we actually stitched
cute.
through the dot.
It makes
so
it look like a button.
yeah, and it's you know, makes it a completely different look in fabric.
Yes.
And then up here we added I'd actually cut the little mini pocket out of this, so I was going to need to patch it with some Treasured Threadz. So that
Adorable.
was a lot of fun.
This has been so great, Amy, and I hope all of you enjoyed this and it just filled you with inspiration, and that you'll look at your closet or those goodies you find at the thrift store in a whole new way.
Right.
Because now we can use these wonderful panels and upcycle them.
Right, and I wanted to
Oh,
tell
yes.
everybody about your shirt,
Yeah,
just because I
absolutely.
didn't want to, I wanted to explain how I'd done that. We actually removed this is a man's dress shirt.
Yeah.
We removed the collar, just cut it off, and it left us with a mandarin collar.
Right.
And then I cut off the cuffs, and so we just shortened it to like a
A
three-quarter
sleeve.
length,
Yep.
and then added the little, yes,
in
that
between the
postage
buttons.
stamp.
It's so cute. And this one you just did a raw edge, which is also
Oh, yes.
so fun.
Well, yeah, that's true. That is a raw edge, and we did use a fusible on the back, so
Yeah.
that's fusible with raw edge.
Yeah.
And
just-
that that panel reminds me of one more. The
Oh,
jean jacket behind us.
absolutely.
You said that was your favorite.
It is
so
my favorite
I
one.
didn't want to miss a chance to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about it.
So I wanted to show you some of the techniques that we came up with on this
Yes.
one. So we did, make a little pattern with batting, and then we added the small patchwork here. We came in and added, just following this little detail. You can follow those details on jean jackets.
Yeah.
We added a piece of the print and then, hand quilted this. This is kind of fun.
I was going to say, I love this detail. She's just wrapped the embroidery floss around the edge of the pocket to bring in some colors and add that stitching to more of the elements on the jacket. So cute.
And then the back is what's really fun.
All the way across that shoulder.
Yeah, that yoke. So there you can see where we really had a nice quilted look just using cream thread.
Yeah.
And
it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, Amy.
I'll make one for you.
I can't wait. I will wear it. That's so sweet. Go. Thank you. All right, so Amy has just filled us up with all these fun ideas. Again, these are the Treasured Threadz panels that we began with for so many of these projects and ideas that we've shared with you today. And they have the QR code and everything that you need to get started with this. Amy, where can people find you and find out more of the things that you're sharing?
Well, my newsletter is the best place.
Okay.
That would be go to my website, amybarickman.com, and register for my newsletter. I weekly or every other week share new ideas for projects, sometimes my vintage trips where I'm treasure hunting for quilts and textiles. And then I'm on Instagram, Amy Barickman Studio, Facebook.
Wonderful.
All of the places that everybody's finding inspiration and fun.
Well, perfect. Amy, thank you so much for coming to visit again and sharing all of these great things with us. And we will see you soon, I'm sure, because we always have more up our sleeves.
Yes.
And we'll see all of you later.
Thanks so much, Misty.
You're welcome. Hey everyone, it's Misty. Thanks for watching at home. If you aren't already a part of our Missouri Star family, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want a notification every time we release a new video. I'll see you next Monday on the newest episode of At Home.